Welcome to Straight from the Source, and we have a special guest today, Pete Carr, who's a former Orland city manager. We just realized we met each other when you were Orland city manager, not Biggs, right? I think, yeah. He thinks I'm older than I am.
Just about 10 years ago.
Yeah, so I've been here for about 10 years, and you've been with Orland. You had been for 13 before you retired, right? So tell me I've heard people call you not just a city manager, but like a strategic planner, because you did so much in your role as city manager, both at Biggs and the city of Orland. How did you approach that job?
Well, thank you, Haley. You never know what other people are saying or thinking about you necessarily, except maybe on social media.
Well, that's true.
But city management was really fun. It's very dynamic. And to me, it was just a great privilege and an honor to be entrusted as a steward of the city's finances, resources, and workers, to be able to put all that together. It is complicated, between public safety and streets and roads and parks and library and water and sewer and planning and engineering. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But to me, it was just a great privilege that I was appointed by people who were elected by their neighbors, by the residents of the town, to represent them, and they selected me and entrusted me with the resources to be able to provide services in Orland. And I tried to always keep that in mind, that this isn't about me, it's about what can we do for the community. All the decisions have to be made in the best interest of the community.
So when you moved to Orland, and when you took on this job, I mean, you moved to Orland for the job, right?
Well, actually, I moved to Chico about 23, 24 years ago for a manufacturing job out at the airport.
Oh.
Then I started at Biggs, and I worked there for 5 years as the city administrator, and then following that 13 years in Orland. But I lived in Chico the whole time.
Okay. Oh, that's right. And I remember by that roundabout, and I remember we did a story with you. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so you're living in Chico, manufacturing at the airport. How did that get started, and why did that stop?
So right out of college, Sac State, business degree, I accepted a commission in the United States Air Force as a lieutenant. 4 years later, left the Air Force as a captain. And so I saluted my colonel goodbye, and the next Monday started working for General Mills in manufacturing.
Wow.
They had a Cheerio plant down in Lodi.
Okay.
So I worked there for a few years, and then for International Paper Company. And then I came to Chico to be the operations manager for a small countertop manufacturing outfit that was at the Chico airport. That's building products. By 2006, building products were really suffering from the whole downturn. And I found an opportunity where Biggs, the city council there, was looking for someone to come in, not from government, but from business, and take a different perspective on their finances and their services. So that was a great opportunity for me, and I just loved it. Okay,
I want to dig into that in a minute, but first, when you were on the Air Force, did you have any experiences with UAPs?
Unidentified? No?
What, right? Yeah. Isn't that the new name for UFOs, is the UAPs? It's all the Air Force guys that are talking about them.
Really?
Haven't you seen any of those files that have come out recently?
I haven't. I've seen headlines, but I haven't read.
You've got to watch some of the videos. Most of them are old videos, like from the 40s or 50s. But you hear some interesting stories, but you never experienced it.
I was a base services officer, so I flew a desk. And I had a nice view of the flight line and watched the F-15s take off and land, but no.
Okay. All right. So, so you take on the responsibility as administrator in the city of Biggs. What was your experience in that role? Because you're kind of, like you said, you are appointed to this position, but your bosses are the people elected, that council, right? So you're working for the people. It's a big responsibility.
Right, you are. And those 5, or in the case of Chico or Oroville 7, those people have perhaps their own agendas and priorities, and that's fine. That's how they were elected. But they have to learn to work together through the city staff. So you have to, as a city manager, you're not political. You're not making decisions based on what's happening at the next election.
Right.
But you're very conscious that your bosses are, and that they have the best interest of the community at heart, but they also have elections coming up. And so you're in that environment, and so you have to adjust to them. And then every 2 years, 2 or 3 of them, their seats are up for election. Maybe they get reelected, maybe they don't. And so your boss, as it were, is a constantly changing group.
Right.
So I would say I had several city councils over the 13 years that I was there. And that was really, really fun to adjust. And sometimes when you get a brand new city council member, the city manager needs to do the orientation and help them understand. You know, every citizen has their view of government, but now that you're going to be making decisions and legislating, here's how things work behind the scenes.
I see, yeah. Did you ever feel at any point, in any city that you worked for, like a pressure from one of the council members to do something that didn't kind of like align morally with what you thought was like actually your responsibility?
I don't know about morally, sometimes ethically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that thing that you want done is not consistent with what I think the direction is from the group.
Yeah.
I made very sure that when I had communications with one, or I received a request for action from one, that I shared that with all 5, and they all knew.
Yeah.
That I would send out you know what frequently asked questions are, I would send out a list of recently asked questions. And
Yes.
it was questions that your colleagues on the council have asked, and here's what my response was. So that I was trying to always keep them all on an even playing field.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's been, 15 years since you've been in Biggs, right, I think?
Yeah.
How does that, are you still keeping tabs on things? Like the things that you were working on back then, where do they stand now? Do you think everything's going along well?
You know, that's a funny question. I think anything or anybody that you've really put time and effort into, you always have an interest in that. You always have a soft spot for it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not involved down there. What I see and hear in the news, that's what I know about how things are going in Biggs now. But you definitely, as you pass by it on 99, you care more about that than any of the other towns.
Yeah.
And same thing with Orland. I'm not on the inside anymore because I've been away from it for a year, but I definitely care. I want to see the city continue to grow and improve and prosper.
Yeah. What are some of the things that got done in Orland while you were there that you feel the most proud of?
You know, there were things like financially, they were down to their last $200,000 when I got there, and water and sewer funds were in the red. And when I left, there were several $1 million worth of cushion on both of those. But I think more satisfying to me was things like the Every Child Swims program. We had put about $500,000 into our swimming pool. And I was at a fundraiser in Chico one evening with my wife, and a woman that we met there said, well, I'm a teacher in Orland. You guys just put all that money into the pool, but half of the kids in my class say they can't swim.
Wow.
So on Monday, I got back to work and I talked with the recreation director, and we came up with an idea, and we approached the school district, and this was over 10 years ago. The school district agreed to send all of the second graders throughout the whole city to a week of swim lessons, intensive, 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
And the city agreed to hire the lifeguards and have the pool up and running. And the high school agreed to release these high school students that were Red Cross certified to be able to come over during the school day and teach lessons in the month of May. And so it was just perfect. And then a local business, a bank, made a contribution as well. They said, how can we help? So we had them purchase vouchers for parents whose kids need additional lessons beyond that 1 week. And it's still continuing today, that program. And yeah, I feel great about that.
Isn't that so cool how there are so many things where like you want something to happen and it seems like it's just a matter of money and we don't have the money. But a lot of times if you can think outside the box, right? A lot of times it's just, no, let's just organize. People have skills to share, right? Or people, maybe businesses, they could get a tax write-off or something for doing something charitable. Like, you never know. But it takes somebody to organize it and just make it happen, right? It's not always like, we can't or can't afford this.
Right.
Yeah. I love that
And then
idea.
when you see it continue even after you're gone, it's very satisfying.
Yeah. And I mean, it's stunning to me to think that, like, up to second grade that so many children couldn't swim because, even like, hey, listen, I'm 40-something, and my best stroke is the dog paddle, right? But if I fell into a pool when I was very young, my parents made sure very early on that, we were able to not drown. So just for whether or not they love swimming or not, just for a matter of public safety, what an important thing that is for a community.
And that was the goal. Orland has irrigation canals that crisscross throughout the whole city.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can get kids to not swim in them.
Yes.
So we wanted to have an advantage of kind of drown-proofing the kids at least.
Yeah.
They weren't all going to be on the swim team.
Right.
But at least they could float and get to the side.
Yep. So the irrigation canals in Orland, is that is that like a county thing or owned by private agriculture? What's that about?
Yeah, it's private landowners who have come together and formed a joint powers authority that is separate from county and city, but very integrated.
Okay. Orland is such an interesting community, right? It's in a certain way, it's like very historic. I will honestly say that I go there the most frequently for my kids' sports games, like for a football game or that sort of thing. And I always love walking around the little downtown area, although one time I desperately wanted a pedicure, which is not something I ever usually do. But I was just like, we're here 2 hours before the game starts. It's not something you can just walk in and get a pedicure in Orland on a Saturday. You need to know a person. So, I like to think of it as like there's plenty of room to grow. But I bet people who live there probably just like it just the way it is. There's got to be a certain charm to having everything be very small and low key.
There is. People choose to live in Orland.
Yeah.
And they aren't necessarily all wishing they could be in Chico. They love to come over here to shop, but they like the small town and the community feel they have.
Yeah.
One of the things that's not just likable but lovable about Orland is their volunteer fire department.
Oh, yes. I just had Dave Kelly on recently.
Oh, good. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I saw that. So that's, one of, I think there's only 2 fire departments in California that are that large, all volunteer. And so that's, on one hand, a great budget saver for the city, where the city provides the shiny big red equipment, but all the work is done by trained volunteers who spend thousands of hours being trained, being ready.
Right.
At the same time, it's kind of it's a community hurrah thing. The community is very proud. Those are the local heroes.
Right. Yeah. No, it's pretty incredible. And so many of us are so busy. It's expensive to live here in California. It's expensive to raise a family, to have a full-time job. That's, for me, that's all my time. And then on the weekends, I'm doing yard work or vacuuming or whatever to just get into that mentality of somebody who could be willing to be on call, right? On a weekend.
Spend a lot of time
football
training.
Sunday, doesn't matter.
That's right. In fact, bad things tend to happen at night, weekends.
Yeah. Sacrifice your sleep. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And it makes sense why people would be really proud of having a program like that. But gosh, at the same time, it's tough that it has to be that way, right? People pay so much in taxes. They spend so much money. Why can't the city afford its own paid firefighters?
Well, I'm not saying it couldn't.
Okay.
But the general fund that pays for public safety also pays for the library, the parks, the pool, the recreation services.
Yeah.
So it would have to come from something else.
Right.
Orland has, I think, the best library system and library around.
Yeah.
The recreation, now it can't compete with CARD, but on a level of cities under 20,000, I don't know of anybody that has a better recreation program than Orland has. Those are great quality of life values that the people in Orland love.
Yeah.
And those would be at risk if another 500,000 or million had to go to fire instead.
Yeah. So it works.
Yes.
And when you left, because you resigned, right?
Right.
2025?
Right.
You feel like things were in good shape and people feel satisfied with the status of their community?
Oh, there's always things that people want better or more of or less of, which is fine.
Sure.
And there was never going to be a point where I could retire with everything done because cities are dynamic. There's always projects that are just starting, some that are in the middle and some that are ending, and it'll always be that way. So I picked a moment to jump off the merry-go-round, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
The city just keeps going.
I feel like I read some sort of speculative report about you having some sort of issue with the mayor at the end of your time. Was there anything to that?
Yes, yeah. the mayor, who is one of the city council members, I felt was making it impossible for management to be effective.
Okay.
And I confronted the individual with that. I didn't see a change. I didn't see the council helping to rectify that situation. It was better for me to step away, and I
Yeah.
told them that if this doesn't change, then management has to,
Yeah.
it's going to be a big impact here. And
Could you be more specific about the change that you felt was needed?
well, all I can tell you is the city attorney and the city planner all saw the same situation.
Okay.
And so when city staff feel that the environment's toxic, they need to leave because
Yeah.
they're not in charge. The
Right.
council is in charge. So it's up to the council to make adjustments so that the city staff can be more productive.
Okay. And I mean, you kind of talked about you always keep tabs even after you've stepped away from something. Do you have any idea if things have improved now, a year later?
Well, I'm not trying to interject myself behind the scenes
Yeah.
or get inside info. I read and I watch the news.
Uh-huh.
So I know that they've struggled with some things. For instance, the first person they hired to be a permanent replacement, it didn't work out. He just left the city a week ago or so. So now they're out hunting again.
Yeah.
I wish the city well. I mean, I really sincerely hope that things,
Yeah.
I mean, you need good leadership at the council, you need good leadership at City Hall as well.
Right.
Meanwhile, Orland is blessed with fantastic department heads. By department heads, I mean the police chief, fire chief, engineering, and public works, which has your streets and your water and your sewer. I mean, each of those, in those silos, they have excellent people that just continue on doing a great job no matter what's going on between the council and the city
Yeah.
manager. So the city is still functioning.
Okay. So for you though, it's been what, a year?
Right,
That
1 year.
Are you retired or are you doing? I mean, that's such a funny word, right?
Yeah.
When we say retire, because nobody stops doing things. I mean, you might, but
Well,
how fun would that be?
with 10 grandchildren, and my wife and I are celebrating our 45th wedding anniversary this
Oh,
week.
congratulations.
I have things to do.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm not bored.
Yeah.
And yes, I am officially retired, but I'm available to help a small community if they want the help and invite that, and there's some way that I could be helpful. I would be open to that.
You've got to be careful because I think sometimes you see people like, I don't know if you know Mike O'Brien, who is Chico City Council member slash Paradise Town Manager, former police. He stopped being the chief of police for Chico, Bintiff Interagency Narcotics Task Force Commander. I'm like, you retired to 4 jobs.
Yeah.
And like they're all 30 hours a week.
Right.
So when do you sleep? But that's not
Yeah.
your story yet, right? But you
No,
wouldn't
no.
mind taking on something?
I continue to be very involved in my church, which
Yeah.
gives me lots of community service opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying pickleball, swimming, bicycling, traveling more than ever, and just, so yeah, no complaints.
Yeah. And you think you have Chico home, right? You said?
Right, I live here in Chico.
So-
not at the same place that you
Oh, not
mentioned
that same
earlier,
place.
but just barely on the other side of the park, which, I mean, we just love Bidwell
I
Park and
do
the
too.
beauty of Chico.
Yeah. So
Can't leave that.
I have to ask you though. Well, 2 things. First, how do you feel about roundabouts after having a home right on one?
Yeah. Well, it was a little disturbing to see how much of our front yard we had to lose in order to make that public improvement happen.
Yeah.
But we definitely preferred that over a traffic signal,
Okay.
which we were told was the alternative.
Yeah.
So it actually kept traffic moving,
Right.
and it slowed traffic down. So in that respect, it was a good thing.
They keep building them. I mean,
Yeah.
they say that
work.
all the studies show that they're way safer than a
Right.
signal or a 4-way stop. But it just
Nobody
feels,
gets a T-bone
Right.
accident in a roundabout.
yeah.
They're just,
There's just a little bit of like annoyance because people hesitate because
Yeah.
they don't really know how to use them, and
Right.
so they get nervous. But like, yeah, you don't see crashes very often.
not the big ones.
Not
Right.
very often. Yeah,
Yeah.
fender benders. I don't know how that one on 99 though is going to work up toward Corning.
Right.
That feels like in the middle of a highway, a roundabout seems weird.
So you can't get over to the coast now without going through them on Highway 20.
Oh, that's
They've been there
right.
for years.
Yeah.
They're functioning. Everybody
right.
slows down,
Yep.
and it just keeps flowing. So
Yep. All right.
I'm a proponent.
Okay, good.
Although Orland doesn't have one yet.
So living by up by the park, so that was always kind of what I had wanted, and I ended up moving to the west side of town, which, gosh, especially when we get into summer, I feel better about, even though we all know that fires can happen anywhere. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Right.
You don't have to be in the, what do the firefighters call it? The urban interface. Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you think about those kind of things, like wildlife, wildfire risk, anything like that being, in the beautiful park?
And when there's a fire at the park, which direction the wind's going means whether you need to pack and get ready to go or not.
Right.
When you go to get insurance on your home, there's some of the companies just won't write insurance in Chico if you live near.
Are you dealing with that right now?
Yes.
Yeah, because you haven't, I heard that the fare plan, too, is going to go up 30% this fall. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting to see what's going to go down with the insurance in our state. We're not going to be able to live here much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we're not worried about sea level rise, so that's a positive. At least not here.
Because we're so far inland.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody has something to worry about.
Yeah. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's got to be something, right?
Yeah.
They need people to live in California, so I'm sure that they'll figure it out. And we'll see. Insurance commissioner's on the ballot for the June primary, so we'll see if somebody comes up with a better plan. So what else? What else is on? You said you have 10 grandchildren. I take it all your kids have stayed here in Northern California?
No, they've all gone. So we have 4 children.
Okay.
They're all married, and they're between Southern California and upstate New York.
Oh, wow.
So we have to travel to go see grandkids.
Do you fly, or do you have a big RV?
We fly, or we drive down to Bakersfield like we did this last weekend.
Okay.
And we just endure the endure the drive. But I just got back from New York a couple of weeks ago, where I was visiting kids and grandkids out there, and so that's fun. We wish that they lived closer, but we also moved away you do what you need to for your career and make the best of it.
It's one of those tough things because, I'm one of those ones. I'm from Southern California, and my mother and, my father's passed away, but his whole family is all down there. My brother and his wife live there, and they have a new baby. And my sister, she's down there. And so I have it in my mind well, at least I can just one quick flight down to Burbank, right, and I get to see them all. But California is so expensive, and Los Angeles is so expensive. My sister's considering moving to South Carolina with some cousins, and I don't blame her because it's hard to afford to live here. And my brother's kind of joked about moving into my mom's house because it's like LA prices. It's hard to be in this amazing state, but knowing that I have kids now who are teenagers, one is 20, and knowing that, how difficult it is for him to just afford an apartment in Chico.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But our kids that are in Southern California and that are in upstate New York, they're finding prices are climbing and getting very competitive.
Yep.
So,
what is your advice to your children when they're trying to figure out their finances? I mean, the world we live in is changing so much. You studied business, right? You've managed cities. What is your advice to people going into the workforce, trying to figure out how to manage their lives?
Oh, I don't know if I have a lot of good advice, and I certainly don't give it unless asked. But,
well, I'm asking.
But my wife and I sacrificed a lot. We didn't travel. We didn't have extra money. She stayed at home with children. I had 2 children, or we had 2 children when I graduated from college. And we lived in apartments and just saved and worked hard and did what we could. And we bought some homes that today we kind of chuckle when we look back and our kids go, wow, you guys lived there?
Yeah.
Keeping expectations in check, I think is important. And sometimes in our society we can have our expectations so high that we can't afford them. Yeah,
absolutely, right. But then there's always that balance, right? Because you think about, we all like to think that we get to live to retirement or maybe to our 80s or, hey, maybe we hit 100, right? And that sounds great, and so you want to save. But then sometimes I think, gosh, I'm going to saving all my money, and just, what happens if you get a health diagnosis or, you get hit by a bus or something. So it's you want to balance, right?
Sure.
They always say, well, you should do some international travel before you're retired, because otherwise you're not going to have the energy to walk up the steps of the Coliseum, right?
So for a long time, we couldn't afford anything more than an overnight camp trip.
Yeah.
But when we became able to, I would say 10, 15 years ago, we started traveling, and we've been to some very fun places in the South Pacific and the Caribbean, and we have lots more plans. So, I definitely don't want to wait till I'm too old to travel.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite places here in Northern California, those hidden gem places?
Great question. Certainly Bernie Falls and all of the
yeah.
waterfalls. I mean,
The Cloud Falls.
I remember one
there.
time we did a loop where you can do 13 waterfalls in one day. If you start early in the morning and you hit them all in that area, and that's just, well, yeah, what a treasure that is.
Yeah.
Calaveras, the Calaveras County Fair, I think it's fantastic, and it's unlike any
been
other
there.
anywhere with the Jumping Frog Jubilee that they have
Okay.
based on the Mark Twain story.
Okay.
Every year.
Yeah.
That whole Highway 49, the pioneer history is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I love that. That's another piece of advice I have for people a lot of times, and I try to take it myself. Because, I love to travel. I love to experience new places and see new things. But you don't have to get on an airplane for 12 hours in order to experience something completely new. Like even national parks, like I still haven't been to Lava Beds, which is up in, I think that's Modoc County, right?
Yep,
Not far
yep.
from here. We recently did Castle Crags for the first time. And I mean, I'm a lover of Yosemite, but Castle Crags is pretty darn close when you look at just like the granite slabs.
A lot quieter.
And a lot less expensive too.
Right,
And you don't
right.
need to win a lottery to,
Right.
to climb to the top.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a pretty incredible place to be. And you think you'll stay here long term?
I told you I love Chico and I mentioned the beauty, but I also have several generations in the Chico Cemetery. Now, I was brought up in Carmichael, down
Okay.
by Sacramento, but my mother had been brought up here and several generations before her back into the 1870s. And my dad came here from New Jersey during World War II as an instructor pilot at what's now the Chico Airport.
Yeah.
And that's where they met. But on my mom's side, one of her grandfathers was the general manager of Diamond Match
Oh, wow.
for decades.
Yeah.
And so that's a big family legacy. Didn't have sons, had daughters, so the family name died out, even though the legacy remains.
Yeah.
And then her other grandfather started the Chico Granite and Marble Works.
Really?
So yeah, I feel definitely, and my wife even too, feels that we have a place in this town. We have roots here.
Yes.
And we can't think of any place else we'd rather be.
Yeah. No, I love that. Have you heard, Dan Gonzalez, the Marion Park owner, is doing something with Diamond Match, but it sounds like he wants to keep that building and keep that whole vibe as like industrial, and it's going to be like, still kind of like an homage to what it once was, which I think is pretty cool.
It was the largest employer in Chico and in the area, and Sterling City and a lot of the other communities were very tied to it. My great-grandfather had 60 lumber mills up and down the valley that were all part of the network of what was Diamond Match. So to preserve some of it, to pay some homage to it, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Yep, it's great. I know people here in this community really love their history. Although, and I'll ask you this, because you've been in this community for such a long time. You've had an amazing career, but we are going through just a crazy time right now with just how fast technology is advancing, and we're seeing artificial intelligence. I, being somebody who's maybe just about halfway through my professional work life, I definitely have a little bit of like apprehension or curiosity at best about what's going to happen to broadcast news, what's going to happen to all the different industries out there. Do you feel like in your time as a working professional, there were any of these kind of like eras of uncertainty that you navigated?
Certainly. I do remember as an Air Force lieutenant getting a desktop computer put on my desk.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't have one in college.
Yeah.
All we had were little word processors.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that thing.
Right.
But the lieutenant colonel I worked for, he wanted it there, and he wanted me, and I just was like, we have no need for this. I told my wife, we will never own a home computer. There'll just never be a need for such a thing.
No, crazy.
So, yeah, I would say I wasn't a great early adopter on some of those things. But over time, as I learned some skills in how to use a tool to get my job done, then I began to see the value in it.
Yeah.
These AI tools, to some extent, are easier to learn
Yes.
than others have been, much more user-friendly.
Right.
So from smartphones and desktop computers to now this, it's a tremendous opportunity for younger people to not do what I did and try to avoid it,
Right.
but to embrace it.
That's what I've been trying to do too. I resisted at first, and then I kind of just went all in. I said, all right, how can I use this tool to help me be better at my job and be more organized?
That's the attitude.
But yeah, because it's like that's going to be the future. So you can't fight it. You're going to fall behind.
And if your organization learns to set standards for it and you use it ethically, you can be very productive with it.
Yeah. Okay. You don't think you're not worried about a robot takeover?
No.
You look at me like, did she really just
not
ask
worried.
that?
Yeah, a little worried about the ethical issues that could be, where AI could be misused, and probably will be to some extent. But yeah, I think there's more positive than negative as far as the opportunities presented.
I mean, the Pope was warning about it just yesterday. Yeah, it's like maybe we just figure out how to set guardrails.
The impact on our adolescents
is
an important thing to be aware of, and to make sure that we regulate that.
Yeah. My last question for you is just, we're coming up a week out from the June primaries. Another thing we're seeing in society these days is just like politics used to be one of those things like, oh, you don't talk about religion and politics at the dinner table and you keep your friends, and everybody knew it. That's not the case anymore, right? There's just this divide. So many people can't set it aside. You're somebody who spent a career working with politicians and having to see eye to eye with people who felt very differently. Do you have any advice to those of us just in our normal lives navigating that?
My family suffers too from the divide on the national politics. But people need to remember that most of the services I enjoy from government on a daily basis, they come from local. The streets I drive in, the parks, the sidewalks, the water, the sewer, the police that I'm counting on to be patrolling at night while I'm sleeping, the fire department that I'm going to call if I need them and I know that they'll be there. Those services are all local. And we don't have that big divide like there is nationally. We can come together in a community, hold our locally elected representatives accountable easily, because they're our friends and neighbors. We know who these people are. We have good methods of communicating what's going to be on the agenda, what did they do last night, and so the opportunities to be aware of and to participate in government are here at the local level. And without that big partisan divide that happens elsewhere, local government can be very fun too.
Yeah, agreed. All right.
I mean, there were many times that I saw a city council that was intent on voting one way change based on a standing room only audience that showed up. So as a manager, I was only working on what is, like logistically the best decision that I could see. But they definitely are going for how does the community feel?
Right.
And what can I do to be responsive to the community? That is a fantastic system. I just think the system we have is great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's people in it. They make it complicated. But if we'll appreciate the value of the system that we have and participate in it constructively, that's a great thing.
Yeah, I agree. Pete Carr, thank you so much for being here. I
Thank you,
appreciate getting to know you a little bit better.
Thanks for listening today. I decided to offer this podcast after enough of you let me know that you wanted a deeper dive into certain stories than you get on our TV broadcasts. We elect certain people to represent our voice, but who are they really? My hope is that this podcast answers that question. I love your feedback, and I want to know who you'd like to hear from next. Just fill out that comment section and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify.